Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of Medcast KSMA. Today's episode is going to be very interesting, and today we have got a guest from Germany, Mr. Christian Gauss. How are you, sir?
I'm fine, thank you.
Before starting the podcast, can you, sir, please take us through the journey of you from Germany to Kyrgyzstan?
Yeah, that's a long journey. I first studied German and English language at Freiburg University. And then after my first state exam, I was going to the US for 1 year teaching at the University of Cincinnati. But during that year, I was hanging around the anthropology department much more than in the German department. And so I got into American cultural anthropology and becoming very interested in cultural evolutionism, because the female anthropologist who was teaching me was the pupil of a very famous American cultural evolutionist. Then I had to go back to Germany. I had a special scholarship to study sociology and linguistics. But then I didn't follow anymore in this field and decided to go into school teaching to become a German Beamter in a gymnasium. But I had also done some anthropology work at Heidelberg University on the side, so to speak, during this preparation period for becoming a German gymnasium teacher. And that was done at the South Asia Institute of the University of Heidelberg. And when it came to an end, to do the second state exam to become a gymnasium teacher, I noticed an advertisement by the German Academic Exchange Service in Bonn that they wanted a teacher of German to go to Kabul, Afghanistan, at the university to teach German there. So I had the choice of becoming a gymnasium teacher in Mannheim in 1973, or go to Kabul early in 1974 to teach German to Afghanis. I decided for the second.
So you went to Afghanistan?
I went to Afghanistan and spent 3 years as a lecturer for the German Academic Exchange Service, the DAAD, in Kabul. But towards the end of this period, I closed the lecturership, not because I knew that the Soviets would invade Afghanistan a year later, but because teaching German literature in Kabul doesn't make much sense. And I had proposed to the German cultural affairs officer in the embassy that I would switch to support the German professors who were teaching in Kabul University natural sciences and economics. There was a very strong partnership between several German universities, and they sent professors in these subjects to Kabul. So the lecturership was closed. I went home. In the meantime, I had received a scholarship to do anthropology at the University of Michigan in America and write my dissertation on cultural evolutionism. I went back to Heidelberg after 1 year and had a teaching assignment during my writing my dissertation, and then I received my doctorate in cultural anthropology from the University of Heidelberg. I didn't find a job then because I was too old, in a certain sense, to get a job in the German anthropology departments. And I was too much American influenced in my theoretical viewpoints So the German anthropologists didn't really like me very much.
Oh.
And then I went back to the German Academic Exchange Service to have a lunch with the supervisor during my years in Afghanistan. And we went to lunch together in the DAD Stalovaya. And two persons joined us, and I was introduced as the last lecturer of the DAD in Afghanistan.
All right.
And then they said, that's very interesting. We are going to Egypt next week. We want to establish a lecturership at the University of Asyut in Egypt. Asyut is in the middle of Egypt.
Yeah.
Very close to the desert, but right in the middle, basically, between Cairo and Luxor or even other places further south. And I said, I would like this lecturership. So they said, well, apply. And I was given this lecturership because my first wife was an Egyptologist, and she was also working in Egypt a lot.
All right.
So I was given the lecturership. I stayed 4 years in Asyut, and I was teaching German to what we call here aspirants in Egypt, in Asyut, from the University of Asyut. The aspirants had to learn a second language. They knew English, and they choose German as a second language to do their doctorates. They needed this. But of course, I was very often on archaeological digs and in Cairo and in Luxor because of my wife working there. And then I got a DAD lecturership to teach, and this was my specialty in cultural anthropology, ethnoarchaeology. And so I tried to relate in some publications and in Egyptology congresses that we can look at the anthropology of current Egypt and compare them to classical Egyptological data.
All right.
So anthropology, ethnology, and archaeology has to go together. And there's something like an ethnoarchaeology subject,
All right.
So that was all very nice. But then after Egypt, I didn't have a job in Germany. And then suddenly in 92, the DAD advertised their lecturers for German language and culture in 3 countries here after the independence: Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and Uzbekistan. And as far as I know, the DAD only had 3 applicants.
Oh.
Nobody wanted to go there because nobody knew anything about these countries.
Yeah.
Yeah, among other things. I knew a lot already because having been to Afghanistan, the archaeology and history is very close to this whole Central Asian archaeology and anthropology and so on.
Yes.
But I never had a chance to go during the Soviet Union to Russia or to Kyrgyzstan, to the Kyrgyz SSSR. So the DAD knew that I was a very bad German teacher because I had many other interests in
Other
Egypt
than German language.
and in Afghanistan also, I was hanging around in Afghanistan with the anthropologists and the archaeologists, not with German teachers. So they knew this and they gave me Kyrgyzstan.
All right.
The best choice they could have done for me. Because here in Kyrgyzstan, I went to the National University, teach German,
And
then I had a lot of chances to meet the archaeologists, to meet the anthropologists.
so again, archaeology.
So I was doing my thing very much. And also because of my history, having studied history of science and other things. That is, by the way, why Heimo and I get along so well, because we always talk about science, you know, from all aspects.
Yeah.
And I'm still reading every day the newsletter that Nature or Science are sending to my iPhone.
All right.
So that I'm quite well informed and things like that. Anyway, so I was also very much interested in what
the archaeology and
the archaeology and so on, but also what the universities are doing here scientifically. And the medical doctors, I went to every university or academy and told them about the possibility for young scientists, aspirants and post-Kandidat Nauk students to apply for a scholarship in their field through the DART. And the story was that for the scientific scholarships, you know, for aspirants or postdocs, only female Kyrgyz women came with very good English and a research project.
All right.
So all I had to do was find them a German counterpart who would accept them at their clinics or at their institutes.
All right.
And the dominant number were medical students.
All right.
And this is why I already in those years had contact with the current rector.
All right.
Yeah.
So that's how your journey was, from a German teacher to the science, and obviously then the research, and then about the students. Sir, you've been to a lot of countries, as you have mentioned. You have worked in a lot of countries. What was your first impression about Kyrgyzstan, and how has it changed with the passage of time?
The first impression was such that because my trip to go to Bishkek was delayed by some bureaucratic stuff that the DAD had to do with the National University.
All right.
I had spent some time in Egypt again. So when I came here, whenever I wanted to say something, I had a basic course in Russian then in Germany in November before 1994.
All right.
But my Russian is very bad, so I don't want. But whenever I wanted to say something in Russian, it came out as Arabic.
Because of your experience back in...
because I went back to Egypt for a month or so, you know. And impression was very nice. And the main thing was that within the universities, the women are the best co-workers. They are running a lot of
multitasking. Yeah.
Duties.
Yeah.
So then I taught my German classes. Students studying German applied for scholarships. We had selection committee, a small selection committee, somebody from the embassy and some other people who were working here in Kyrgyzstan, Germans. We always had one former DAD scholar who went to Germany during the Soviet Union time, so they went to Leipzig or some other East German places. And somebody from the embassy, I said, and or some professor who was by chance doing research here on the history of Kyrgyzstan or the Soviet Union or, things like that. A lot of people from agricultural sciences came in those years to support the Agricultural Institute. So we had lots of applications from Agricultural University, and they were also the ones who then founded, together with in '99 with my successor and myself, a DAD alumni club.
All right.
And this is going quite well now. Every year they have a meeting of all alumni, or at least the ones who come.
That's good.
And they call it a scientific conference, and they get support from the DAD, and
Impressive.
then they invite some German professors who have been to Kyrgyzstan before, or they invited me because last year was my 30th anniversary of opening the lecturership here at the university.
All right.
So I had a special invitation as an alumni.
Sir, one of the interesting part in your journey is obviously about you have married a Kyrgyz.
Then I divorced and married a German Kyrgyz woman.
Kyrgyz lady. So your daughter Shirin, she has Kyrgyz roots.
Yeah. Yeah.
First of all, obviously.
You want to see her picture?
Sure. She has the Kyrgyz roots. For you, how much important is that multicultural family, and how has it changed your worldview? And obviously, if you can take us, how did you marry the Kyrgyz lady?
That was never a problem.
Mm-hmm.
My wife, if she would answer honestly, would say that in some situations in Germany, she was discriminated as a foreign woman.
All right.
And I think it's not important, the examples,
Yeah.
But generally speaking, she was sometimes discriminated. But being married to a German, because of her education and working as a medical doctor and so on, the discrimination was nothing compared to what other people in Germany are experiencing right now, for example.
All right.
So we have always been living in a good suburb of Bremen, and
All right.
But she opened her private practice in a suburb that is very colorful, as we say in German, meaning it's about 70% is Turkish,
Mm-hmm.
and very many sub-Saharan Africans,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of people from Syria, Afghanistan. So
it is multicultural, multinational.
That is really multinational, that suburb, and that of course shows in her patients also that she's treating now, But she doesn't mind this, and it's okay. Now she has, of course, mostly Ukrainians.
All right, because of the war, obviously.
the Ukrainians are coming.
Refugees.
So we do not complain. Everything is okay.
Yeah. So, as you mentioned that you were a part of that committee which were choosing and selecting aspirants or the young scientists and sending them towards the Germany. Obviously, our viewers who are currently watching the podcast, what are those qualities which you would say that these students or these aspirants will surely be selected for?
Okay, there are two things. In those years, I was with a small committee pre-selecting the applicants.
All right.
And in those days, they had to write on paper many things.
About themselves?
About themselves, of course. So what kind of education they had, all the papers, the Kandidat Nauk certificate, the aspirant registration here, and so on. So the application process cannot be compared to what is going on now. Now they only present themselves online by uploading all the papers. CV, invitation by a German professor. It's completely different. There's no more individual selection.
All right.
Here in this country. And I can say that during the 5 years I was doing these selections, and after these 5 years as lecturer, I was working for 2 years in the Committee on Science and Education in the White House under the Kyrgyz president, it's called. That was under President Akayev.
Mm-hmm.
And I was working in this committee, and we were organizing the government scholarships. And when I entered or was permitted to work in this committee, my first thing was to change the country where the government scholarships were sending their selected personnel.
All right.
Because before I came to the committee, they were sending all the selected students to go to America. Because Kumtor company was supporting the committee with a big amount of money, and that was used to send students to the US.
All right.
And when I looked at the numbers, okay, the idea of Kumtor was, of course, that they would select students who would then, when they return with a master degree or something, to work for Kumtor.
Okay, so...
Meaning engineering, geologists, and subjects like that. Okay?
All right.
But the students that were selected were not interested in these subjects, so they studied everything else.
All right. So was there any contract that if they are going through that?
No, that was an unwritten contract, so to
All
speak.
right.
And so I said to my boss, who was a physicist like President Akayev,
Mm-hmm.
let's change this and let the DAAD search for positions or possibilities in Germany, and the government would pay the DAAD that they organize everything from language classes to institutes where they would then study, because it's cheaper. We can send more people than to America on this money that the Kumtor is donating. And the chances are that they get much better treatment, because the DAD was really helping everybody personally. They were organizing the language classes for particular people. They were finding professors who would integrate these people into their departments or laboratories or what have you. So my boss agreed.
All right.
Probably President Akayev also agreed. Because he knew very much about the DAAD scholarships, because during the 5 years the German ambassador had already made it a point to hand over the certificates that they were chosen for a DAAD scholarship to go to Germany. He was inviting the German ambassador and all these, the group of selected personnel, scholarship people, to come and
get the certificates,
hand over the certificates, and make a big photo.
All right. All right.
So, and then after 2 years I had to leave this job because Heimo asked me to join his team for the reform of medical studies at the University of Hamburg.
All right.
Klinikum Eppendorf.
All right. As we are already discussing about that, sir, there is most asked question currently in Kyrgyz State Medical Academy. It is by the students who are currently studying in the Faculty of General Medicine in English.
Mm-hmm.
And the question is that DAAD scholarship, specifically in Kyrgyzstan, why are these only for locals? Why the students from other countries cannot apply via the scholarship?
Because the DART has a rule that's very easy to answer, that anybody has to apply for a DART scholarship in his home country.
Yeah, so they can only apply through their home countries.
Yes.
Not from Kyrgyzstan.
But if they marry a Kyrgyz woman and get a Kyrgyz passport, they can apply from Kyrgyzstan.
I mean, that's an option as well. Yeah.
So, make a choice.
Yeah, that can be a good option.
Okay.
Sir, as we are already discussing about the education and the scientific work and the research things, what do you think the education system back in Germany, and how do you think the about the education system of Kyrgyzstan? Are they comparable, or how the Kyrgyzstan is currently developing its education system?
Well, on what level? You know, if you look at the schools, you notice that in Kyrgyzstan for the last 15 years, you have a number of private schools opening.
Yeah.
Who are accepting anybody who can pay for them.
Yeah, yeah.
And they supposedly give you or give the child a good education. It's a circulus thing. Because a vicious circle, you know, in English. The university, if I look at the German teachers, the university produces German teachers.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of them speak and write very bad German. And they find work in some schools.
All right.
And then they teach bad German
to students.
To pupils.
All right.
Now, the better ones are hopefully being sort of integrated into the German language departments of the universities.
All right.
Okay, fine. They are teaching better, hopefully. But now, first of all, a lot of young students with German are going to Germany for work during the summer. They are going as on what is called a free social year. So they get a small salary and can work in a hospital, in some offices, in other organizations, and so on and so on. And there they learn good German. And when they return, they can pass any German exam.
Yeah.
So that during the last 20 years, this has been increasing the number of very good German speakers. The young woman who met me up in the office and brought me down here, she has been on a work stay in Germany.
All right.
So her German is still very limited, but you know, she can say basic things. So if she would go again, and maybe for a longer period, then her chances to go to Germany on some real job are much better, or studies. Whether the private schools are very good, I don't know. But I notice that many people send their pupils there. And the university that's the other thing. The university is having a problem.
In Kyrgyzstan?
Yeah.
All right.
Because the foreign language knowledge of, let's say, English, French, German is very, very limited.
Yeah.
You know. But there are always groups of people who study for some purpose. Like I know of a group of medical students who are regularly meeting, They already have very good English knowledge, and they are now working together to pass the American medical entrance exam, the USMLE.
Yeah.
So, and some of the very good German speakers in the medical school here have been to Germany on this social year.
All right.
And the luckiest group of those is a group of 4 who are now, all 4 of them are already now in Germany.
So they all make it out.
They made it to Germany, but they're all different stages. It's very interesting. But they couldn't return after their 1-year period because of COVID. So they got an extra schooling of German the next half a year before they could leave.
Because of the quarantine.
Yeah. So, one is now working as an assistant doctor. One is passing the exam now to get the certificate to work as an assistant doctor. One is working in a private practice, and he will also have to pass the exam, the equivalency exam, so that he can become a German doctor. And the 4th is on a DIAD scholarship at the very prestigious Technical University of Munich Medical School in cardiosurgery for children.
All right.
So this is the luckiest group I've ever met. But I think I can say that 2 of them will definitely come back to Kyrgyzstan. So it's not that we are taking all the good doctors from Kyrgyzstan and keep them in Germany, although we need doctors.
Yeah. So that as we were already mentioning about that intercultural relationship, if you would have to make a system, a combined cultural system, what are the things which you will pick from German systems? What are the things which you will pick from Kyrgyz system? And obviously we can include the systems from Egypt and Afghanistan as there as well.
What do you mean by system? Educational system? Or?
I mean education. Let's, for example, take the education system.
Well, the German system is such that people are not learning by heart.
Mm-hmm. So, practical knowledge.
So, basic knowledge that you should acquire and have available at any second.
Yeah.
And that seems to be a problem right now in Germany in the university system, that the students are not learning anything as a basis. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, I think every country is so different that you can't really pick the best ones. At least I wouldn't know what to pick.
All right.
But you have an aim. What is the idea? Why are you asking this question?
No, actually, as you have already mentioned, these are the things which, as a student, I am actually having these things as well. That instead of learning by heart, there should be a practical knowledge.
Yeah, that's what they don't get here. You know,
hands-on
the students
experience.
don't see any patients.
Yeah,
they see it in Germany.
Yeah. So
and in this new thing that I developed with Heimo for Hamburg for a while, there the students have access to patients from the first week of studying medicine.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
and this new system has an exam system that is called OSCE.
Yeah.
Objective Structured Clinical Examination.
Yeah.
So during their first year, every week they are presented with a medical case.
Yes.
In particular subjects, and then they have to self-study. Then they are giving the necessary theoretical medicine lectures or talks
about that specific
particular case.
Mm-hmm.
Then they see a case on Friday. During the whole week is for one case, and on Friday they have access to a patient with this particular disease or problem, and then they get into the OSCE examination. That means that they are going, which is not done every week, of course, but quarterly or half yearly, and they go through stations.
Yeah, OSCE stations.
Doing certain things that they have learned for different cases during all those weeks of one case. It is not at all universities yet in Germany, but at many as a second way of studying medicine.
This is
so at the Charité in Berlin, for example, or at Hamburg, you can study traditionally, or you can study the alternative of a modern coursework.
Yeah, this is the thing that should be implemented throughout the world.
Yeah, but I go back to Kyrgyzstan with you. In 2001, I left, learned all this at Hamburg, and then in 2003, I wrote a project for the German Organization for Development, what is now called the GIZ. And they had a special job situation for certain specialists. And for this program, I wrote a project. And I sent the project to the KSMA.
Right.
Indira.
Our rectman,
Indira, and the then person in charge of international office. She's now professor of ethics here, medical ethics, Tamara Kudabagenova. The two of them were asked to come to the German embassy because there was no GIZ office in Bishkek at that time. And the second ambassador, a woman, asked them to present this project, why they would like to invite somebody to introduce this modern way, let's say, of medical education.
Yeah.
So they presented all this, what I had written for them. Then the lady said, this is very nice. We would like to support this. But who is going to do this?
That's the main question.
And Tamara said, Dr. Christian Gucsch.
Oh.
And the lady said, no, he is too Kyrgyz.
Oh.
And she killed the project. And this is why, having heard the news that they wouldn't like me there, I applied with Uzbeks who had been to conferences of medical educators. And so I knew the names. And then I wrote to them in Tashkent. And they quickly got me through the embassy problems and all. And so I went to Tashkent for 6 years.
All right. So, sir, I mean, as you already mentioned, the problem that you were not getting job because you had the theory of American, and at this period, this was rejected because they thought
too Kyrgyz.
you are too Kyrgyz. How much do you think are such things, such specific scenarios are affecting the basic projects or basic scientific projects?
Not the scientific project, because I always kept in close contact with the Kyrgyz here. And so during the 6 years in Uzbekistan, we often visited. And so some Uzbeks, of course, then went on to scholarships and so on and so on. But this is why my revenge, in quotation marks, is now, this is why in 2019, I came back to Kyrgyzstan and then met with Tunisia, who had taken over in the meantime. I wasn't in Kyrgyzstan officially, really, not for 20 years. So let me tell you the story. How are we doing? Oh.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
One quick ending of this. In 2019, my daughter had to do a practical 2-week thing in Germany during her school vacations. But she didn't want to do this. She had no interest in anything, really. And then at one point I said, would you like to do this in Bishkek, birthplace of your mother? And she said, yes, I think that's possible. So I had to accompany her, of course. So the two of us went to Bishkek, and she was doing a practical period in a gymnasium here, where there was a German teacher. He took care of her. Mm-hmm. As happens in Kyrgyzstan, like it happened this year also, the minister said that after Nowruz, we arrived on Nowruz Day, after Nowruz, there's another week of vacation for students. So I had to find something for her to do during the first week.
Yeah.
At the same time, a very famous urologist, Professor Alken, was in Bishkek working together with the urologist here on a particular type of operation. And I called them the evening before. On Monday, I called them and I asked, what are you doing tomorrow? And the urologist from Kyrgyzstan, Dr. Manolov, whom you all know from the TikTok films, said, Professor Alken is giving a lecture on stones.
Mm-hmm. Kidney stones.
Kidney stones, whatever stones.
Okay.
All stones in your bodies.
All right.
And I said, can Shirin, our daughter, can she go with you? Yes, of course. So the evening before, I told my daughter, knowing the rituals here, the rector, Indira, will say hello to you, and then, you say, thank you very much that I may be here, and so on. But I bring you regards from my father, Christian Gucsch. Mm-hmm. The rector hadn't seen me in 20 years. So, and then she said, you should give a lecture to our pre-med students, the college medical students here, about the German school system. And this is how I met Tunisia. And this is how I talked Tunisia into applying for the senior service experts to come here and work together with Kyrgyz doctors. And this is what I'm still doing sometimes now, unofficially. Right. So I'm now finishing. I am only a facilitator.
Yeah.
Okay?
I mean, that was an interesting story. Coming towards the end of the podcast, sir, what is your favorite dish in Kyrgyzstan? Your favorite dish in Kyrgyzstan?
Dish? Funchose.
What?
Funchose. But it's not really Kyrgyz. Funchose, yeah.
And any German dish?
German dish? We live in Bremen, so the best dishes for us are fish.
Fish.
All kinds of fish. And there are very good restaurants with fish. And so twice at least we eat fish in Bremen.
All right. And sir, your favorite book which has inspired you?
Well, I mentioned History of Science before, and I think anything by Popper, Karl Popper. because I studied by
So,
a pupil of Popper's, in a sense.
so it is the favorite author. What about the book?
No, his main book is
All right.
Scientific Theory.
Okay. And moving towards the end of the podcast, there is the camera. Any message for the audience, for the students, for the young aspirants?
I can only say that they should learn a foreign language, not Russian and Kyrgyz anymore.
Yeah.
German or English will do. And then read international medical journals, especially here at this place.
Yeah. So they have to get out of the box.
They have to get out of the box, yeah.
Thank you so much, sir, for being on the set. It was so interesting to have a talk with you.
Thank you very much for the interview.
Thank you so much, sir. That's all. And please make sure to like, share, and subscribe.